The National Assembly opened its first interpellation session under the Lee Jae Myung administration on Monday. This 4-day questioning period is expected to spark heated exchanges between the rival parties, covering a wide range of state issues. For our politics and diplomacy this week, our Moon Hye-ryeon joins me in the studio to tell us more. Welcome, Hye-ryeon.
Good evening, Yoo-jin.
Thank you for joining us. So, Hye-ryeon, starting off, tell us about this interpellation session and what went down yesterday.
Right, so for those who are unfamiliar, an interpellation session is a formal process in which members of the National Assembly question top government officials, from the Prime Minister to cabinet members and officials, on their policies and performance. This 4-day session started off yesterday, as you just mentioned, and will carry on to Thursday, addressing a range of different issues. So on Monday, lawmakers clashed over political affairs. A debate quickly centered on judicial reforms and calls for Chief Justice Cho Hee-dae to step down, with the Democratic Party accusing him of political bias. This accusation stems from a controversial Supreme Court ruling that found President Lee guilty of making false claims during his 2022 presidential campaign. Now, while the case was sent back to a lower court, the DP claims the decision was a deliberate attempt to interfere with the presidential election and potentially disqualify Lee. So when asked if he agreed with calls for the Chief Justice to resign, Prime Minister Kim Min-seok responded he was well aware of the issue at hand. But People Power Party leader Chang Dong-hyuk argued the move was just to shield Lee, noting his trials were frozen after his election victory. The PPP also criticized plans for a special tribunal on insurrection, tied to former President Yoon Suk-yeol's failed martial law order in December. The debate has now become a central issue in the broader discussion about the separation of powers.
Right, so that was day 1, and today was day 2, so please tell us about the second day as well.
Right, so today's session zeroed in on foreign affairs, security and defense. And this comes amid ongoing trade negotiations with Washington, as we heard earlier on this newscast with Toyan. And it's therefore no surprise that the trade deal was a big part of the session today, with PPP lawmakers firing questions that targeted the scale of South Korea's pledged investment in the U.S. And here's what one politician said.
The amount South Korea originally agreed to invest in the United States is $350 billion US, 486 trillion won. That's 19.6% of our GDP. Isn't that too much to have agreed to?
To this, the Prime Minister responded that once negotiations are somewhat finalized, Assembly consent may be necessary if it places a financial burden on the public. The issue of South Korean workers detained in Georgia also came under fire, with the PPP arguing that the large-scale arrests targeting only Korean factories by U.S. immigration authorities at a time when tariff negotiations between Seoul and Washington are underway reflect the Lee administration's lack of competence. The DP, on the other hand, countered that the incident stemmed from excessive crackdowns by the U.S. authorities.
The use of chains and ankle shackles during the arrests. This is being condemned as clear mistreatment and an inhumane practice. The U.S., too, must change what needs to be changed and improve what needs to be improved.
So in response to these concerns, Foreign Minister Cho said that this could serve as a blessing in disguise.
The U.S. has now taken the initiative to actively address long-standing visa issues. And since we have also been pressing strongly on this matter, I think it will serve as an opportunity to resolve visa problems more effectively going forward.
So this interpellation session is now halfway through. So, Hye-ryeon, what can we expect in the days to come?
That's right. So on Wednesday and Thursday, we can expect the National Assembly to focus its attention on the economy, society, culture, and education. So on Wednesday, key topics are expected to include economic management, public finance, government spending priorities, and responses to current economic challenges, including inflation and jobs. Lawmakers will question ministers about measures to stimulate economic growth, fiscal reforms, and industrial policies, as well as scrutinizing the Lee administration's tariff negotiations and any alleged mismanagement. And on Thursday, the agenda is likely to include education policy reforms, school and teacher issues, protection of cultural assets, social welfare expansion, and the administration's broader plans for building national power.
All right, our National Assembly correspondent Moon Hye-ryeon, thank you for your report.
Thank you for having me.